we don't really know the long-term effects because it hasn't been happening for that long a time. But right now, childhood anxiety is higher than it has been. It's been spiking. And I hate to talk about this stuff because it's so depressing, but so is suicide. So, you know, it's not surprising that kids would feel anxious when they haven't had a chance to see what they can handle, and when they've been told that nothing is what they can handle. And when kids grow a little older and they go to campus, the campus mental health services, like, they can't keep up with the demand. And on the one hand, I feel glad that there isn't a stigma, that you can go to talk to a counselor and nobody goes, "What, are you crazy? Are you a wimp?" That's not happening. So that's good. But the counselors feel like that the kids are becoming more anxious than they've ever been. I talked to a 7th grade teacher recently who did, I'll tell the solutions when we're done with this part about like how we can sort of start reversing the culture. But she teaches a lunchtime class in the junior high, middle school that she's in. And one of the kids came a little late, and so she hadn't gotten her lunch. And so the teacher said, "Oh, we'll just go to the cafeteria and bring your lunch back, and, don't worry about it." And the kid said, "By myself?" And she literally meant she didn't want to walk through the halls of her own school to the cafeteria of her own school, ask for food, and bring it back. The whole thing made her so anxious. The walk, the fact that she wouldn't be with her friends, that she'd have to say out loud without her friends there boring her on that, like, "I'd like the grilled cheese." And the teacher had to tell her, it's time to get out of your comfort zone. But to me, if your school and your cafeteria aren't your comfort zone, there's no comfort. You have no comfort. The only time you're comfortable is when somebody is with you. And that's a bad way to feel. So that's what we're seeing.
My dad would talk about how when he was 10, he said 5th and 6th grade, he would wake up at 3 a.m., do his paper route.
Oh, wow.
And then when he was done and he got paid a little bit of money, he would go to the Long Beach Pier, take a half-day boat out and go fishing. And then as long as he was home by sunset, he was good. And he even... What's that?
Go on. I was going to ask, how anxious is he? He's probably pretty relaxed.
He actually said, I didn't prompt him at all. He said it was freedom because I had money. And, he
had money because he had freedom.
Yeah, exactly. And that was at 10.
Yeah. It sounds like stories from, the Bible. It seems like so long ago, and it's not so long ago, but we've just been talking about all the factors that have made it seem impossible to imagine a 10-year-old being outside on their own. I mean, the American Academy of Pediatrics just said in the Wall Street Journal recently, no child should cross the street before age 10. And I've seen pamphlets that say age 12. And it's back to like, no risk is worth taking, no matter how small. And then this wholesale disbelief in our kids, our communities, our car drivers. There's just no belief in anything other than me with my kid, waiting for the bus to come, making sure he gets on there, waving goodbye so he knows I still love him, because that's so tenuous too. It could break if he doesn't see me waving. And then off he goes. There's just something very atomized about the idea that we individually must keep our children safe every single second. Otherwise, all bets are off. It's going to seem like the foot binding culture. It's going to seem like a very weird moment when we didn't trust nature or humanity, evolution, or our kids, or even our own experience. All we trust is fear.
Between your book and Jonathan Haidt's Coddling of the American Mind, it's gotten me thinking about my own paranoia and overthinking. I tend to be a worrier. And
I'm a worrier. Believe it or not, I'm a worrier. I'm just not a worrier about strangers. But go on.
And Halloween candy.
Yeah. I worry about cars. Yeah. You're in LA.
Oh, yeah. No, I absolutely still worry about cars. But to that point, though, is you guys bring up so many facts and realities, and it really has gotten me thinking, like, okay, which of my worries are rooted in reality and which ones aren't? And it's actually helped a lot. Like cars, that's actually a pretty legitimate concern, especially in Los Angeles. But, you know, walking in a relatively, or like a safe neighborhood or whatever, or the things that I worry about, a lot of the times I think, wait, that's actually irrational. There's no reason why you should feel that way you do. And you know, I think about news and media and whatnot. It's like, that's probably where you got this worry from.
And the norms have changed, whereas your father could go out at 3 a.m. in the dark on his bike and then go out on a boat. And now, you know, the American Pediatrics is telling you not to let your kid walk. Let me just tell you the two ways that I think we can change things, because I really think, you know, because I have no patience. I feel like there's two very easy ways to start reversing the norms. You know, it's really hard to be the parent who says, okay, it's 3 a.m., go do a paper route. You know, you'd be crazy, and Child Protective Services would be banging on your door, and nobody would hire the kid anyway. You have to be 18 now, you got to have a car. So you can't, it's hard to do it on your own. So we're doing at Let Grow, which was founded by me and Jonathan Haidt and Peter Gray and Daniel Schuckman, who was the former chairman of a group called FIRE, which fights for free speech on campus, and worried about the growing fragility of young people coming to campus and, you know, being buffeted by new ideas and not being able to stand it. So how can we make it easier for all of us parents to raise kids who do have those, you know, the scraped knees and the falling out of the trees, whatever it is, a little bit of life experience, so that they grow up less fragile. So one thing is that we're trying, you know, if you go to Let Grow, we're trying now to create a community of people who support each other, who are doing this, you know, and we have a Facebook page called, because of search engine optimization, No More Helicopter Parenting, the Let Grow support group. But it's great because people are going on there and saying, like, look, I'm thinking of letting my 4-year-old play outside in the yard. Is that okay? And then people say, yes, and, you know, it's fine. Just, you know, it's just, instead of saying, are you crazy? What are you going to do? They're going to be killed. It's a supportive community where people can ask, you know, what do you do? Is my child old enough to walk to school? Or I think my kid is old enough to do this, but she doesn't want to because she's afraid. So it's a gathering of people who are sick of being afraid all the time and told that they must be fearful and helicoptering. So there's the community online. But then we also have the idea that it's easier for people to change when everybody is changing at the same time. So we have 2 initiatives in schools that are, you know, one is free and simple, and one is simple, but it doesn't cost us money, but it'll cost the school a little money. I mean, you don't pay us anything. One is the Let Grow Project. So the Let Grow Project is so simple and fast and free and fun. And that is that a whole school decides to do it, like the school this morning is doing it. And what it is all the teachers tell all the kids, K through 8, that their homework, their assignment that they have to do for school is to go home and do something on their own without their parents. And it could be walk the dog. It can be, you know, run an errand, go to the park. If you're in a dangerous neighborhood, you know, cook dinner, babysit, go down the hall and visit a neighbor. And the whole idea is that parents don't have the milestones. They don't know where they are anymore. They don't know, like, can your kid walk outside at 7, or can't walk outside till 10, or, you know, babysit at 12 or 18. They just, my mom knew that I could walk to school at 5 because everybody was sending their kids to walk to school at 5, age 5. So if you have a whole school doing the Let Grow project, which all the material is at letgrow.org, and you just put in your email and you get a list of activities for the kids to do. There's a letter to send home to parents. There's a letter that explains how to do it to teachers. It's just very, very easy, because this is the whole project. You can get it from what I'm telling you. And then all the parents are sending their kids to do something. So you're not the crazy mom sending your kid to the park. And your kid has somebody to play with because, let's all send our kids to the park. So, and nobody's telling you exactly what the project has to be. So, you know, if you're not ready, the park is too far, but you're willing to let them go 2 houses down to borrow something. So then you do that. And the whole neighborhood is doing it. And the thing that I realized now, remember the subway rider was 9 and now he's 21. So I've had a lot of time to think about this, is that, the stuff you're reading, and we write this because we hope it makes an effect, but the statistics, the rising anxiety, the lower muscle tone, the money and time that has to be that gets used just in helicoptering, all that stuff makes rational sense. Like, oh, that doesn't, I don't want to waste my time. I don't want to waste my money. I want my kid to be better. I realize that the statistics show that they're, statistically pretty safe. That stuff doesn't change people. The thing that changes people is being forced to send their kid out to get the bread. Because when the kid comes through the door with the bread, the parents are ecstatic. They are so off the charts happy, and the disconnect between the very minor thing they didn't go out at 3 a.m. to do, to go fishing on a fishing boat. They went, a block to get the bread, but the parents are as if the kid went to the moon. And so that changes the parent. This bursting of the ice that was covering them in fear, it cracks, and they are so grateful, and they're so happy. And I think it's because you're hardwired to want to know that your kid is going to live when you die. Why do you have kids? You have kids so that they'll live, you die, your genes go on. And until your kid does something without you, you only know that they're okay with you. You don't know that they're going to be okay on their own. And so this first proof that your parenting has been successful and this whole venture is great and your kid is going to survive, it's so much bigger than, oh, my kid went and borrowed, sugar from the neighbors. So if you have a lot of people doing that at once at your school, the kids are changing, the parents are changing, the neighborhood is changing, and there's this new normal. And we've heard from neighborhoods where, the principal at 17 years, the principal would always drive home the same way. And after the Let Grow project, now she sees kids on their bikes and on their scooters and roller skates. And another neighborhood where a kid went to the store and everyone's like, what's he doing in the store? Where's your mother? Why are you here by yourself? And he says, it's a Let Grow project. And after that, other kids start coming to the store. Now it's normal, right? We've re-normalized in a simple, free way kids being part of the world again, and parents trusting their kids and their community. So I highly, highly recommend that project. And the other project we push, because it's so easy and so great, is to keep the schools open for free play before or after school. So kids organize their games and they decide if the ball is in or out, and all the stuff we were talking about before that kids get from play that they don't get from, a lacrosse league where you learn lacrosse. And I'm not against lacrosse, but that's an adult telling you, when the game starts and who's on what team and who's bringing the snack and whether the point was made or not, and here's a trophy. All that is irrelevant because these are kids deciding all that. And the idea is that when the adults are organizing an activity, the adults are the adults and the kids are the kids. They just do what they're told. But when the kids are organizing the activity, that's when they learn, that's my husband, how to be adults. So if you keep the schools open for free play with the adults on premises, just in case there's an accident, but not organizing the games, that's very easy, but it costs the amount that it costs to have a teacher or a person still on premises. It's still pretty cheap. And then the Let Grow project is completely free because all the materials are free. You print them out and send the kids home. So those are things that I think are, it's 11 years of thinking about that. Those are the simplest, most straightforward, least expensive, most effective, universal ideas that can be done anywhere. The play club, you can be in the most scary neighborhood and you can keep the school open for free play. They were safe there for the first 6 hours. They're safe there for another 3. And there's a place for them to play. You don't even have to worry about the park. So that's just it. That's what we're trying to popularize around the country. A community where you can come on Let Grow and talk to each other. And then these 2 projects in the schools.
Hey everyone, thanks so much for watching the episode. If you're interested in contributing to the conversation and supporting the show, there's 2 easy things you can do. 1, click subscribe, and 2, visit our Patreon page where you get exclusive access to the Exploring Minds community.